What the f? I've unpacked my Secret Santa gift and had a quick look through it. I've roughly assembled it and it's a big old boy. I'm not entirely certain who got me this. I've got a few suspicions as to who this might be from, but I'm going to keep them to myself for now. I've roughly assembled it, had a quick look at it. It is a gorgeous model. It's been 3D printed, and the paint that I've been sent is the skink blue dry paint. I've got to use that at some point during the painting process. I'm sure I'll be able to find somewhere for it. But I need to get a little bit of cleanup work done on this guy. I need to get him cleaned up, get him all glued together, get any of the gaps filled and everything, and then we can look at painting him. So without any further ado, we'd better crack on because this guy is going to take some work. I started out when I was unpacking these miniatures thinking they wouldn't take much to clean up, maybe an hour or so, and then I'd be straight onto painting and be able to get started on these. But I soon realised that these bits and pieces needed a hell of a lot more cleaning than I was expecting. So I always thought that 3D printed models were supposed to be easier. You print them, that's it, done. There's a hell of a lot of cleanup to do on here, so whichever lazy sent me this, next time clean it up better. So yes, I'm doing a Secret Santa video. I'm doing this with Luke from Geek Gamer Scenics, Ben from Benji's Hobbies, Elston from Elston Nation, Michael from Nat1 Videos, Dave from MS Paints, Colin from The Crazy Crafter, and Ollie from Broadsword Wargaming. And I'm really looking forward to getting to work on this and trying to work out who it was that sent me this absolutely massive, ridiculous model. I've got my suspicions. So everything is now cleaned up and ready to go together. The base is going to need a little bit more extra work because the base itself has warped, so the scenic topper that goes on top needs a little bit of trimming. I'm going to end up using quite a lot of milliput to fill the gaps and to sort of hold that together because that's warped, unfortunately. But it shouldn't be too much of an issue to put together. We'll see how I get on, I guess. I initially went with super glue to try and connect these two pieces together, but there wasn't enough surface area due to the weird warpage on the base, so I ended up just going straight in with milliput, using this as a solid base to connect the two parts, and then going round, filling all the gaps in with more milliput, sculpting it a bit with some sculpting tools, using some rolled up tin foil just to sort of smooth that out and give it a little bit of a rocky texture, just to help it blend in with the rocky surface on the base. Everything's built, it's all built and put together. I need to leave it to one side. It's late on at night now. I'm going to head off to bed and we'll see how we get on tomorrow with painting it. I'm actually looking forward to working on this now. I was a little bit nervous at first because of the size of it and the time scale I've got to get it done in, but I'm actually really looking forward to getting this done now. So I'll go and get some sleep and we'll see you in the morning. I got up the next day and checked the model. Everything had set, everything was fine, so I was ready to get started painting. And for a model this size, there's only one tool that I'm going to be using to paint it, and I think we all know what it is. So the model is now primed and zenithal highlighted and ready for me to start painting. I'm actually going to try and paint the majority of this model using the airbrush. I will have to come in with a brush later on, but I'm going to try and do the majority with an airbrush and see how much detail I can get done. I've picked out the colours that I want to use. I'm aiming for reds and stuff for the demon himself, and then I've got some blues and some greens in there for the base. I want to do a nice glowing effect with that. I've got a few other spot colours in here as well, which I'll use, but this is largely what I'm wanting to stick with. I have also got another paint that I've been sent that I've got to use on the model as part of the Secret Santa challenge. It is skink blue dry paint. The tight that sent me this has not sent me a brand new pot. This is a used pot, so
yeah, I'll see if that's going to be any use later on. But with all that said, we better get cracking because we've got a lot of work to do.
The main focus on the base was going to be the pool. I wanted to have that really nice sort of glowing, like a bluey greeny look coming up from the pool. So the rest of it I wanted to keep quite dull and quite drab so that the focus would be on the glowing areas. So the rest of it was painted in greys, browns and greens to try and keep the focus on the glowy area. Now, I've been looking forward to painting this model from getting it unboxed and stuff, and once I got over the initial shock at the size of it, I was really excited, and this has been a really fun project to work on in the run up to Christmas. The idea of doing the Secret Santa was absolutely fantastic. I was all in on it from when it was first suggested. The idea of having something bought for you that you wouldn't maybe necessarily buy for yourself, it gives you the opportunity to try different painting styles, different techniques, or working with different colours, or just working on something that you wouldn't necessarily be working on for your own projects. Like this, for example, isn't something that I would maybe have thought to print out or buy for myself, but once I got started on it, I had an absolute blast working on it. Make sure you check out all the other videos in the collaboration. They'll all be linked down below in the description, and then let us know in the comments who you think we bought for and who you think bought us our own projects, because that is the real fun, trying to work out who got who.
Okay, so the base is pretty much done. I've got a little bit of OSL that I'm going to do, some very lazy OSL using the airbrush, just around the candles and a little bit around the pool and stuff, but the base is pretty much done. What I think once I've finished painting Derek the Demon, I'll come back in and add a little bit of OSL onto the bottom of his like tabard and stuff, just to sort of blend the base and the miniature together and sort of tie it all in. But for now, the base is done. I'm pretty positive. I've made a lot of progress, and I'm looking forward to getting started on the demon himself tomorrow. So I'm going to call it a day for there. Done quite a lot of work, made a lot of progress, and come back at this with fresh eyes in the morning. So I'll see you then.
When I started painting the demon itself, I was insistent that I wanted to use the airbrush for as much of this as possible. I really enjoyed this process. There's really not a great deal to say. I started off with a darker red, building it up to a brighter and brighter red, and adding in some purple in the shadows. I started off with a fairly desaturated purple, and I went back and forth a few times with this to try and blend the two together, the red and the purple, so that it wasn't such a stark contrast. This is something that I've seen people do a lot with the airbrush, and I was having a hell of a lot of fun working this way.
So I'm actually making really good progress. At the start of this, when I was unpacking the model and saw the size of it, I was a little bit nervous because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get this done in the time restrictions that I've got, because it's so big. And I'm still not 100% certain if the person that sent me it was doing it to be a dick, or if they genuinely thought that I'd enjoy painting it. If it's the latter, then congratulations. I have really enjoyed painting this. I think I'm probably going to get him finished today, which is amazing. So I'm going to carry on, and I'll see you when he's done.
For the rest of the demon, I just tried to be as precise as I could with the airbrush. I dialed down the pressure a little bit, which helped me be a lot more accurate with the paint, less overspray and stuff, and I just tried to go back and forth. When I've painted big things like the Warplock Dragon that I did, one of the first big models I did with the airbrush, I very much just sort of went from one step to another, and I never went back and revisited any of the older steps to get the blending quite right. So with this, I went back and forth between the shadows, the highlights, going back to the shadows to blend those back in properly, and I think that the end result looks a hell of a lot better for it. I've spent quite a lot of time this year using the airbrush, and I feel like I've sort of got to grips with it a hell of a lot more. It's one of those things, not everyone likes them, and that's absolutely fine. You could do this with dry brushing and blending and all the normal sort of painting methods, but I really wanted to test myself and try using the airbrush, and I am absolutely thrilled with the results.
I think he's done. I am super happy with how he's turned out. I've had a hell of a lot of fun painting him. I think if I'd got more time, I would likely have spent a little bit longer on some of the details and I'd put a little bit more effort in. But with the time restrictions that I've got, I'm very happy to call him done at this point. Well, Actually, you know what? There's one more thing that I need to add to this. Let's try something new on the base.
I've wanted to have a go using UV resin for quite a while, and I've not really had any projects that have been worthwhile having a go with it, but this base was absolutely screaming out for some sort of water effects on it. So I've got this UV resin from Green Stuff World, got this from Element Games, and all I did was squeeze it out onto the base, spread it out a bit to make sure it was more or less level. I mean, if you leave this, it probably will self-level because it is quite fluid. But I wanted to sort of level it as best I could, and then once it was all right and looked right, I got the UV torch and shined it on it for a bit, and it set. It took about 3 or 4 minutes, and yeah, I think this looks absolutely fantastic. All that was left to do was to glue the demon onto the base, and this project was finished. I really enjoyed working on this model and taking part in the Secret Santa challenge. So to whoever got me for Secret Santa, massive thank you for getting me this. It's definitely not something I would have bought for myself. So thank you very much. That's going to do it for me. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below and a comment. And if you want to help support the channel, there are links down below in the description to our affiliates, or you can join the channel membership program like all of these amazing people already have done. That's going to do it from me. Until next time, enjoy your hobby.